Rita, at 33, is a remarkable woman whose success is a quiet testament to her resilience. Having lost her parents at a young age, she faced challenges that would have broken many. But Rita's intelligence became her anchor, earning her scholarships that helped her push through school. Today her fintech company is flourishing, yet Rita remains grounded. She's built something remarkable, but she prefers to live quietly, far from the spotlight. Public appearances are left to her assistant director, allowing her to stay out of the media's gaze, content with her own peaceful existence. Things had been going smoothly for Rita. Her life seemed to be falling into place, with the quiet stability she had longed for finally within reach. But everything changed when Luca, her ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago, resurfaced. They had first met at a tech gathering, where a simple conversation quickly turned into a friendship. Eventually he asked her to be his girlfriend, and Rita agreed without a second thought. He had always been kind and thoughtful, and after years of focusing on her work and avoiding social circles, dating Luca felt like a step toward something real. At first it seemed too good to be true. Luca did all the little things that made Rita feel special. Bringing flowers, being present, showing care in ways she hadn't experienced before. As time passed, Rita noticed herself falling for him. She allowed herself to believe this was the love she had been waiting for. But that dream was shattered one morning when she received a call from a woman, her voice trembling with emotion. The woman, crying, asked why Rita was trying to ruin her family. The truth unfolded slowly and painfully. Luca had a wife and a child on the way. The man she had fallen for, the man she had trusted, had been living a double life. Devastated, Rita could hardly comprehend the betrayal. She replayed every moment of their time together, questioning how she had been so blind. She blamed herself for trusting too easily, for letting her heart be fooled. When Erica, her business director, found out what had happened, she immediately drove over to Rita's house. Erica wasn't just a colleague. She was Rita's closest friend, the only family she had left. They had known each other since high school, and through the years their bond had only grown stronger. After Erica had lost her job as a personal assistant to a famous artist, Rita had asked her to join the company as her assistant. It was a fresh start, and the two women had been inseparable ever since. Erica had since married her high school sweetheart, and together they had a son. Despite her own family life, Erica always made time for Rita, offering support and encouragement in every way she could. When Erica arrived at Rita's home, she found her in a state of shock and heartbreak. Without hesitation, she wrapped her arms around Rita, offering comfort and warmth in the way only a true friend could. An hour later, Luca called. Erica quickly picked up the phone, and Luca started making excuses, trying to explain himself. But his words didn't make much sense. Erica, furious, cut him off and told him that he was never to come near Rita again. With that, she ended the call, her voice leaving no room for debate. A month went by, and although Rita wasn't completely back to normal, she was getting better. Her focus shifted entirely to her work, and she threw herself into it more than ever before. Her business was doing incredibly well, topping the charts and gaining even more success. But soon things started to get strange. Rita began receiving strange messages, emails, letters, and packages from an unknown sender. The messages unsettled her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She went to the police and made sure her company had tighter security. For a while it seemed like the situation had calmed down. But on the night of her 33rd birthday, things took a terrifying turn. Rita came home to find threatening graffiti painted around her house. She was scared, and without wasting any time she called the police. They quickly started an investigation to figure out who was behind the threats. Luckily, Rita had installed CCTV cameras around her home, and when the footage was reviewed, the truth came to light. The person behind the threats was none other than Luca, the man she had once trusted. The police arrested him, and when they questioned him, his reason for the threats was shocking. He claimed he loved her and couldn't bear the thought of her being happy without him. After the incident, Rita's life changed. She started having panic attacks and couldn't find the joy she once had. She stopped smiling and seemed to lose the spark that had made her so lively. To try to move on, she sold her house and bought a new one in a nearby estate. But she hardly stayed there, choosing instead to spend most of her time at the company, burying herself in work. Erica tried everything she could to help, but nothing seemed to make a real difference. Some things worked for a little while, but nothing lasted. She even arranged for Rita to see a therapist to help with the PTSD, but it only offered temporary relief. As time passed, Erica became more concerned. Rita was still so lost, so drained. She decided to look into hiring a private bodyguard, hoping it would help Rita feel safer and more secure, enough to be able to go out and even return home at night. Since the incident, Rita hadn't been able to sleep well, and that was only adding to her distress. After 2 weeks of carefully reviewing profiles of private bodyguards, Erica narrowed it down to 3 candidates and arranged for a thorough interview. Soon after, Aiden was chosen to be Rita's personal bodyguard. At 28, he had an impressive background. He had joined the army at 19, earning several medals for his service. He had traveled to many countries, providing aid and helping with humanitarian efforts. He was skilled in martial arts, unmarried and financially stable with an impressive net worth for someone his age. Most importantly, he was willing to be by Rita's side wherever she needed him, and that made him the perfect fit for the job. Erica handled all the formalities, explaining Rita's situation and the challenges she had faced. She took Aiden to Rita's new house, showing him where he would be staying, and made sure he understood what was expected of him. His role was clear: to protect Rita, keep her safe and stay with her wherever she went, driving her when necessary even though she had a driver. It's now been over 5 months since Aiden started working with Rita, and the change has been noticeable. Slowly, Rita began to feel more at ease. She was smiling again, expressing herself without the fear she had before. She was sleeping better and her energy seemed to return. The change wasn't immediate, but it was real. Erica couldn't help but feel relieved to see her friend finally starting to heal, and she was glad the decision to hire Aiden had worked out for the best. One day, as Aiden and Rita arrived at Rita's house, Aiden received a call just as they were getting out of the car. It was from his brother, Roman, who told him that their mother had collapsed and was now at St. Mark's Hospital. Rita, though she couldn't see it on Aiden's face, sensed something was wrong. His expression remained calm, likely due to his professional training in handling stressful situations, but something in the way he carried himself made Rita uneasy. Once the call ended, Aiden was about to escort Rita into the house as if nothing had happened, but Rita stopped him. "What happened?" she asked. He hesitated for a moment, but then he told her. Rita's heart sank and she immediately urged him to drive to the hospital. "Drive quickly," she said, her voice full of concern. Aiden shook his head. "I don't want to leave you alone," he said. "I'll go tomorrow when you're safe at the company. There are staff around and plenty of security." But Rita insisted. She wasn't going to let him stay behind out of concern for her. When he refused to budge, she made him an offer. "I'll go with you so you don't have to worry about both me and your mom." At St. Mark's Hospital, they found out that Aiden's mother had already been rushed into surgery for an emergency heart bypass. They met Roman at the entrance. Roman, Aiden's younger brother, though younger, had the same strong features as Aiden, handsome and confident. The doctors soon came out to give them good news. The surgery was a success, and their mother had been moved to the ICU for recovery. Aiden turned to Rita, gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you," he said, but before he could suggest taking her home, Rita stopped him. She wanted to stay and wait with them to ensure that everything was okay. Her insistence touched Aiden deeply, and for the first time he felt something stir inside him, something he hadn't expected. As Aiden's mother, Colette, began to recover, Rita continued to visit her with Aiden, bringing fruits and flowers to brighten her day. When Colette was finally able to speak again, she smiled warmly at Rita. "I'm so glad to meet you," she said. Rita introduced herself as Aiden's colleague, but Aiden quickly corrected her. "She's my boss," he said with a smile. Colette was instantly taken with Rita, her humble nature and radiant beauty leaving a lasting impression. A few months had passed and life had returned to normal, but Aiden knew he wasn't the same. He found himself liking Rita more with each passing day, though he kept his feelings tightly guarded, maintaining a strictly professional demeanor around her. For Rita, while she couldn't deny Aiden's handsomeness and charm, she refused to let her interest deepen. For one, he was younger, and more importantly, she had closed the chapter on finding love. The thought of risking her heart again after what she had endured in the past was something she couldn't entertain. Rita had once dreamed of finding a man who would love her and build a family together, but as the years went by, she felt those chances slipping further away. Her age and status seemed like insurmountable barriers to the life she had once hoped for. One morning, Aiden and the driver waited unusually long for Rita to come out of the house for work. Aiden grew uneasy as the minutes passed. He called her phone several times but there was no response. His concern deepened and without hesitation he entered the house, using the security code to unlock the door. Inside, the silence was unsettling. He called her name repeatedly but there was no reply. His heart raced as he hurried up to her bedroom. There he found Rita unconscious on the floor, still dressed in her nightwear. Panic surged through him but he forced himself to stay calm. He grabbed a blanket, gently wrapped her in it and carried her out to the car. The driver, sensing the urgency, started the engine without a word and sped toward the hospital. At the hospital, Rita was quickly attended to and given 4 fluids. After running some tests, the doctor explained that she had fainted due to severe stress and malnutrition. Aiden felt a pang of guilt as he listened. Looking back, he realized how hard Rita had pushed herself during the recent tech exhibition. She had poured everything into making it a success. Long hours, sleepless nights, and barely enough time to eat. Erica, Rita's best friend, arrived at the hospital as soon as she heard the news. Sitting by Rita's side, she took her hand and said firmly, "You need to take it easy. The company is doing great and it'll keep doing great, even if you take a year off." Rita's relentless drive wasn't just about her business success. It came from her passion for helping others. She donated half of her income to charities around the world, especially children who are orphans just like her, a commitment that fueled her tireless work ethic. After a few days of rest and monitoring, the doctors discharged Rita but with strict instructions that she needed to rest completely for at least 3 weeks and focus on eating well before even thinking about returning to work. Erica and Aiden assured the doctor that they would ensure Rita followed these instructions. As they left the hospital, Erica placed Rita's recovery in Aiden's hands, urging him to ensure her friend rested completely and avoided any work. Erica promised to manage everything at the company, giving Rita the space to focus solely on getting better. Aiden assured her he would, then gently helped Rita into the car and drove her home to begin her much-needed rest. Back at home, Rita was still weak and Aiden stayed by her side, refusing to leave. To her surprise, he prepared meals that were not only healthy but also incredibly delicious. She hadn't known he could cook, but Aiden, who had picked up culinary skills during his years of service, proved to be quite talented. He blended fruit smoothies, read her favorite books until she drifted off to sleep, and even drew soothing aromatic baths to help her relax. When Rita needed to go downstairs, Aiden insisted on carrying her every time, brushing off her protests with gentle but firm reasoning. "I can't risk you overexerting yourself," he said. "Not after finding you unconscious on the floor." She eventually gave in, touched by his care and sincerity. Aiden's presence made her feel safe and cherished in a way she hadn't experienced in years. As days turned into weeks, Rita found herself growing increasingly fond of Aiden. His unwavering dedication and thoughtful gestures warmed her heart, and for moments at a time she forgot about the world outside her home. Yet the feelings unsettled her. Falling for her bodyguard seemed unprofessional, even cliché. Besides, Aiden was 5 years younger than her, a detail she couldn't ignore, though his maturity and steady demeanor often made her feel like the younger one. When the mandatory 3 weeks of rest ended, Erica intervened again, determined to extend Rita's recovery. She insisted that Rita work remotely and attend meetings virtually. "You're the CEO, yes," Erica said, "but you're also on a 3-month paid leave. The company will be fine without you for now. You need to take care of yourself." The board and top executives wholeheartedly supported the decision, leaving Rita no room to argue. With Aiden as her only companion at home, their bond naturally deepened. They spent their days sharing stories, playing games, and cooking together. Rita found herself drawn to Aiden's sharp intellect and easy humor, which balanced his otherwise quiet and composed personality. Slowly but surely she realized she was falling in love. What Rita didn't know was that Aiden felt the same. Every moment spent together strengthened his affection for her, but he kept his emotions in check, knowing the line he could not cross. Similarly, Rita buried her feelings, unsure of how to navigate the growing connection between them. Both hearts burned silently, afraid of what might happen if their true desires were revealed. One late afternoon, Aiden lay stretched out on the couch, his eyes closed as he tried to rest. Upstairs, Rita had been asleep for about an hour, but she didn't sleep for long. When she came downstairs, she noticed him on the couch, seemingly asleep. She walked quietly to his side, knelt beside him and studied his face in the soft afternoon light. Her gaze lingered on every detail: his thick lashes, the curve of his nose, the sharp line of his jaw, and the strong muscles beneath his shirt. Her chest tightened as her admiration deepened. Without realizing it, she whispered softly, "I'm in trouble. I'm so in love with this man." Her heart felt unbearably full, and before she could think twice, she leaned in and placed a delicate kiss on his cheek. Rising carefully, she turned to leave, unaware that Aiden had been awake the entire time, his breath steady, though his heart raced with every second of her quiet confession. As she moved away, his hand shot out, gently wrapping around her wrist. Startled, she froze and her breath hitched as he pulled her closer, his arms sliding around her waist. Their eyes met, and the intensity in his gaze sent a shiver down her spine. Her knees felt weak, and in that moment, it was as if time stood still. Without a word, Aiden leaned in, his lips brushing against hers in a kiss that was tender yet full of unspoken longing. The barriers they had both carefully constructed crumbled in an instant as they surrendered to the emotions they had tried so hard to deny. When the kiss ended, Rita's cheeks flushed and she shyly leaned her head against his chest. Aiden held her tightly, his embrace warm and reassuring. After a moment, he gently pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. "It's okay, Rita," he said softly, his voice steady and sincere. "I'm in love with you too." Reality soon began to creep in, and Rita hesitated, voicing the fears that weighed heavily on her heart. "Aiden, this is risky. I'm older than you and I'm your boss. What will people think?" Aiden's expression didn't falter as he replied, his tone calm yet firm. "None of that matters to me. Not your age, not your position, not what anyone else might say. The only thing that matters is how we feel. Don't let fear decide for you." In the days that followed, Rita found herself treading carefully around him, her mind a tangle of emotions and doubts. Aiden, sensing her hesitation, didn't push. He gave her the time and space she needed to come to terms with their new reality. Still, his care and attentiveness remained unwavering, silently reassuring her that his feelings weren't fleeting, they were as steady and enduring as the man himself. One evening, Rita retreated to her room, shut the door and called Erica. Her voice was a mix of frustration and excitement as she said, "Erica, do you see what you've done? I've fallen in love with Aiden, and I have no idea what to do about it." "We kissed, Erica. We kissed. And I hate to admit it, but it was the most amazing thing I've ever felt. He's so gentle, so kind, I feel like I'm losing my mind. What do I do?" On the other end, Erica burst into laughter, thrilled that her friend had finally let love into her life. Rita let her feelings spill out, voicing every fear and uncertainty. But Erica, always the steady voice of reason, reassured her. "Rita," she said warmly, "what you're feeling is just fear, fear of being hurt again. But listen to me, those things you're worried about? They're not real problems. You deserve this happiness. Trust yourself. You're doing better than you think." As her 3-month leave came to an end, Rita began preparing to return to work. She had missed the buzz of the office, but she couldn't deny how much calmer and more fulfilled she felt after her time off. When she arrived at the company, she was greeted with an overwhelming display of love and support from her employees. Flowers and cards lined her office, cheers echoed through the building, and a small celebration awaited her. Rita's heart filled with gratitude as she stood amidst the warm smiles and heartfelt appreciation of her team. In the days leading up to Rita's return to work, a quiet anticipation hung in the air. She had taken the time to rest, but something deeper had stirred within her. She could no longer deny the truth. Her feelings for Aiden had grown into something she couldn't ignore. Those feelings had taken root in shared conversations, stolen moments, and the unwavering care Aiden had shown her. Still, doubt lingered. Rita was older, his employer, and she understood how complicated relationships could become. She had witnessed how love could break hearts and destroy lives, and the idea of risking everything terrified her. But no matter how hard she tried to suppress it, her heart told her the truth. She had fallen for him. The morning after her return to the office, Rita found herself restless. Her team had welcomed her back with flowers, cheers, and warm smiles, but her thoughts were far from the tasks awaiting her desk. She was thinking of Aiden. She couldn't avoid the conversation any longer. She needed to tell him how she felt and figure out where to go from there. With trembling fingers, she typed a message, Can we talk tonight? Aiden's response came almost instantly. Of course. I'll be there at 7. As evening approached, Rita felt her nerves tighten. This conversation could change everything. What if it didn't work out? What if this risk unraveled everything they had built? But then she thought about Aiden. His steady presence, his kind eyes, and the way he had always understood her without needing words. By 7 o'clock, Aiden arrived, his calm presence easing her nerves as soon as he stepped inside. There was an unspoken understanding between them, the kind forged through months of shared moments. I made dinner, Rita said softly, her nerves showing in her voice. You didn't have to, Aiden replied, his voice warm and reassuring as his eyes met hers. They ate together, the evening unfolding with familiar ease. They talked and laughed as they always did, but beneath their conversation, something deeper simmered, an unspoken acknowledgement that tonight was different. When dinner was over, Rita stood and took a steadying breath. Aiden, we need to talk, she said, her voice trembling slightly. He stood too, his expression attentive and kind. I'm listening, he said, his tone steady. Rita walked to the window, gripping the sill as she gazed out at the night. The words she had practiced felt stuck in her throat. How could she put into words everything she was feeling? The fear, the hope, and the love she could no longer deny. Aiden, she began quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. I never thought this would happen. When I first met you, I didn't see this coming. But I can't keep pretending. I've fallen for you. Aiden stepped closer, his voice tender as he responded. Rita, I've been in love with you for a long time. Her heart skipped a beat, and for a moment, it felt as if the world had stopped, leaving just the two of them in its stillness. The words she had longed to hear were finally spoken, and in that instant, everything felt right. I was scared, Rita admitted, her voice trembling with emotion. I didn't want to let myself fall for you. I was afraid of risking everything. My job, my heart, the company. But the truth is, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want this. I want you. Aiden's lips curled into a gentle smile as he stepped closer, his hand lifting to cup her face. And I want you, Rita. I've wanted this, for so long. I don't care about the age difference or the fact that you're my boss. None of that matters to me. All I care about is you. I want to be with you no matter what. Tears welled in Rita's eyes as she leaned into his touch. The fear she had carried for so long began to dissolve, replaced by a warmth and certainty she hadn't felt in years. She wasn't alone in this. Aiden's love, steady and unshakable, was her anchor. Aiden, she whispered, her voice breaking under the weight of her emotions. Without hesitation, Aiden leaned in, his lips capturing hers in a kiss that spoke all the words they hadn't yet said. It was soft and lingering, a tender promise of the love they had kept hidden for so long. It wasn't rushed or overwhelming, it was patient, deep, and real. When they pulled apart, Aiden wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. For a long moment, neither spoke, the silence filled only by the steady rhythm of their hearts. Finally, he stepped back just enough to meet her gaze, his expression serious yet filled with a love so profound it made Rita's breath hitch. I want more than love with you, Rita, he said, his voice steady yet brimming with emotion. I want a future with you. I want to stand by your side through everything for the rest of my life. Rita's heart raced as she watched him reach into his pocket and pull out a small velvet box. Her breath caught when he opened it, revealing a simple, elegant ring that sparkled softly in the dim light. Rita, Aiden said, his voice unwavering, will you marry me? Will you build a life with me no matter the obstacles or challenges? I promise to always love you and always be by your side. Will you be mine forever? Tears streamed down Rita's face as she looked at the ring, then at Aiden. In that moment, everything she had feared faded into insignificance. Her doubts, her worries, the voice that had told her this wasn't possible, all of it was silenced by the love in his eyes. Yes, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Yes, Aiden. I'll marry you. Aiden's face lit up with uncontainable joy as he slipped the ring onto her finger. They stood there for a long moment, simply holding each other, their hearts full and the weight of the moment settling over them like a soft embrace. Their love was no longer something to fear or hide. It was something to celebrate, something worth every risk. Together they would face whatever came next, hand in hand, knowing that this was only the beginning of their forever. And so, with hearts brimming with love and dreams of a shared future, Rita and Aiden stepped into their new chapter. together as partners, as lovers, and as soon-to-be husband and wife.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories, and you can also leave comments that would help improve the quality of our stories. Thank you.